What would happen if Qui-Gon Jinn survived his duel with Maul on Naboo? What would happen if Qui-Gon had been allowed to train the young Jedi apprentice Anakin Skywalker? What would the Star Wars universe look like as a result of this change? Welcome to Star Wars Explained, where we take one Star Wars event and change it to see how it could impact the universe as a whole. This has been my absolute most requested what if, and I'm glad to be able to bring this alternate storyline to you. To set up this alternate scenario, let's say Qui-Gon is able to keep better pace with Maul during their duel and not fatigue once he is separated from Obi-Wan. And once the shields open, Obi-Wan is able to rejoin the fight, and together the two Jedi successfully defeat the Sith Lord. The two Jedi would then return to Coruscant with Anakin, and the young boy would begin his training under Qui-Gon, learning the ways of the Force and beginning his path as a Jedi Padawan. As a result of Qui-Gon surviving and choosing to teach Anakin, Obi-Wan would be paired up with another master for a short while, because in regular continuity, the defeat of Maul by Obi-Wan solely was what granted him his status as a Jedi Knight. The apprenticeship would not last long, but Obi-Wan would be paired up with Dooku, who again, in regular continuity, Dooku was the one that fell to the dark side, in large part because of Qui-Gon's death. So now, because Qui-Gon survived, he would be able to quell the darkness within him and find new purpose in training Obi-Wan. I would also like to make a really quick point here that will come into play later. In large part, Kenobi chose the all-defensive lightsaber combat form, Surisu, because of the lightsaber duel on Naboo, and because of Qui-Gon's death. But I believe that working closer with Dooku would also prompt Obi-Wan to study Makashi along with Qui-Gon surviving. Qui-Gon would train Anakin in the Force, and because of Qui-Gon's inherent rogue streak, this would also prompt Anakin to form an even deeper edge than he did when he was training under Obi-Wan. Because of this, Anakin would still be driven towards Padme and fall in love. I also believe he would tell his master Qui-Gon instead of choosing to keep his love a secret. Qui-Gon would most likely warn Anakin about the dangers of over-attachment, but would not turn his student over to the Jedi Council. Due to Dooku remaining a Jedi Knight in this story, Palpatine would be forced to search for another apprentice after the death of Darth Maul, and I believe we already know the individual he would choose. This individual would be far more powerful than they were in regular continuity and timeline, and Palpatine would have them undergo rigorous Sith training. Palpatine would find the young, angry, powerful Force user Ventress and take her as his apprentice. Because of Ventress's direct training under Palpatine, she would grow in her power and in the power in the Force, being more formidable than ever, but also more reserved than she was in regular continuity. Learning the ways of being a diplomat and how to deal with politicians rather than a straight assassin and warrior for the dark side. She would be a stunning and precise duelist and cause many problems for the Jedi, specifically forming a huge rivalry with Anakin Skywalker. Ventress might also be ordered to take an apprentice of her own, and I believe she would select the dark side spell-imbued Savage Opress as her personal assassin and student. This time, since Maul was really killed on Naboo, Savage would remain under her control and influence. The Sith would be strong again, and Palpatine's plans to defeat the Jedi would proceed. The war would continue, leading up to a confrontation between Anakin, Ventress, and Savage, where Anakin would kill them both, giving into his inner hatred for the two Darksiders and stepping more into the dark. Eventually, through the same events as in the films, Palpatine would sway Anakin over to the dark side, possibly even by easier circumstances due to some of Qui-Gon's more gray teachings and view of the Force. After hearing of Anakin's fall to the dark side, Qui-Gon would confront his apprentice on the steps of the Jedi Temple. Anakin would order his clone troopers to stand down, informing Qui-Gon he could join him and the Emperor. Qui-Gon would bow his head in shame and tell Anakin he allowed his anger and fear to consume him, and that he was disappointed in the teachings of his student and was the ultimate failure. This would enrage Anakin, and he would strike out at his former master, killing him with the might of the dark side and leaving his body to stumble down the temple steps. Anakin would then enter the temple and slaughter the majority of the Jedi, eventually arriving at the far end of the temple where Dooku and a few Jedi Knights would be waiting. With the help of the clone troopers, Anakin would engage with them and show them the might of his newfound abilities. The Jedi Knights would be quickly struck down, but Dooku would persist, his elegance and evasion posing a difficult obstacle for the new Sith Lord, but eventually he would be overwhelmed and stabbed through the abdomen by Anakin. The rest of the story would play out pretty similar to what happened in Revenge of the Sith, except when Obi-Wan confronted Anakin on Mustafar, I believe Anakin would actually be able to defeat him, and this is why. In The Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan was not using Surisu in lightsaber combat, which is the all-defensive form and the form I believe helped Obi-Wan a great deal in defeating Anakin. Witnessing Qui-Gon's death on Naboo is what caused Obi-Wan to study the new form and to become a better, more practical duelist, but since in this story Qui-Gon survived, I believe Obi-Wan would not specialize in this form. Obi-Wan's use in Surisu was so effective because during the Mustafar duel, Anakin was constantly on the offensive trying to break Obi-Wan's guard, but Obi-Wan's defenses were too strong, and he was able to persist until Anakin gave a crippling weakness and opening. As a result of Obi-Wan not specializing in this form in this story, Anakin would be successful in killing him on Mustafar, smashing his defenses, and the story would continue quite differently from then on. I am actually going to end this story here because Qui-Gon's role is over, but it is very interesting to see what such a change could do to the Star Wars universe as a whole of just one simple character being able to be left alive. I made a video detailing what would happen if Anakin defeated Obi-Wan on Mustafar, and I believe the rest of the story would play out identical to that, so if you're interested in continuing the story, go ahead and check out that video. Link is in the description, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter for updates on the channel. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to help contribute to the channel and gain access to some special features. Click the annotations on screen to watch my previous video or a mystery video. Links for all are in the description down below. May the Force be with you and have a great day.